Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I have another scrapbook process video for you today. Today I am making a double page spread and I'm going to get 18 photos on this double page spread. So first of all, I think the more photos works because, like I said in my last video, they're printed in black and white and so they're not too busy, so I think that helps calm the layouts down. And then the reason I take so many photos basically in the snow. Where I live, we don't get a whole lot of snow days. About once every 4 years we might get a really good snow, but in between then we'll get just a little bit here and there, and you can even see in the pictures that the entire ground really isn't covered. So or at least it's been walked on quite a bit because there wasn't a ton of snow. So any chance that we have snow and I get the opportunity to take pictures, I like to take a lot of pictures. So I'm using the Echo Park I Love Winter collection again, and my original thought was that I would cut all these photos down so that they would somehow fit into a 3x3 square, except for 2 photos which were too large. But I was basically going to make like a grid type layout across the 2 pages and have some of the 3x3s be the photos and have some of the 3x3s be patterned paper with the photos smaller on top of those, but you will see in the end that I actually go in a completely different direction. So here I'm just looking for a photo that I had lost. I'm cutting both, so like I said, I'm cutting most of the photos down to be either 3x3 or less. Some of them are kind of like the same thing, like one, my husband is throwing a snowball at me, and it's 2 pictures of kind of the same thing, so I cut those to be the same size, and you will see I mat them together as one photo later on in the layout. So I'm going to kind of lay out here, and here's where I was thinking I would set up the grid, but once I put the 2 4x6 photos down, I realized the grid probably isn't going to work like I thought it would. So I'm going to try it on a different layout. So now I just decided to lay out the photos however they look together. So like those 2 photos there are of my daughter on the slide, so that's why they'll be matted together because it's kind of the same thing. So I laid out my photos like this, and I'm going to take a picture with my phone of both sides, so when I go to put them together I will remember where I wanted the photos because I really like the layout right there. So I'm going to move my pictures to the side for now, and I'm going to get out my Echo Park I Love Winter collection, which I think I said already that I was using, and I'm just trying to decide which pattern papers I want to use on the double page layout. So a trick when you are making double page layouts to make them look like one smooth layout is to spread pattern paper across both pages so that it looks continuous. So I'm just looking for any different ones that would match and kind of go together. And this layout is actually going to end up being mostly blues. I thought for a while about doing kind of a monochromatic with the blues, but I end up changing that just a little bit. I think it's the title that kind of changed my mind on that, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm cutting this one down to be about 6 by 11.5 or so. I didn't want it to reach all the way to the top, but this pattern paper, I really liked both sides, and I really wanted to use it on this layout, but the other side has like hot cocoa mugs and things like that on it, and I really like that side, and I wanted to be able to use that. So you will see how I actually end up making it work on this layout, even though they're not drinking hot cocoa in this layout. I made it work anyway. So I imagine we drank hot cocoa when we got back anyways, because it was very cold out. So there you could see the hot cocoa mugs. I'm going to go ahead and ink my edges with my black Coast to My Heart ink again. And this pattern paper did not come in the collection. It was made to go with the collection, I believe, but it did not come in the collection. I purchased it separately. So it just had a little UPC sticker on there. So I just tried taking that off, but it wasn't coming off. So here's that side with the hot cocoa mugs that I thought was so cute. And what I decide to do is I'm going to take the hot cocoa mug side and I'm going to put it in a horizontal strip, and I'm going to take this blue that's on the opposite side and I'm going to put it kind of vertical behind the hot cocoa so that they look like they're layered together. So I'm just trimming this hot cocoa piece down, so I don't want them to reach all the way to the edge of the 12 by 12. I kind of like it better that way. When sometimes I think it just depends really on the layout actually if I have it go all the way to the edge or not, but this time I did not want it to. So I'm gonna lay that down on the left hand page, and then I'm gonna line up my right hand page just so I can go ahead and get these so they match when you put the layouts together. So, and I also made sure that when I cut that snowflake paper that the side that I cut, so basically when the two pages are together it looks like one continuous piece, so the snowflakes all line up, if that makes sense. So I'm just using the other side to measure. I didn't get out my T-square ruler or anything for that. I just kind of measured where, I think I actually have lost my T-square ruler at the moment. I was using it for something else. So now I kind of wanted my pages just to pop a little bit more, and I did add the black ink around the edges, but I decided to go ahead and just do an outline on each one, and I'm basically just outlining around the outside of each pattern paper. I'm really glad that I did that because it really helps it stand out. So now I'm pulling up the picture that I took with my phone of how the photos were laid out. And I know that the two 4x6 ones I wanted to matte on a darker blue to help them stand out a little bit. And there you can see I almost started to glue it down on the light colored side of that paper, but I flipped it over and glued that down. And now I'm going to take the other 4x6 photo and I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. And when I matte my photos on paper, I basically just glue them down and then cut them out roughly with scissors and then trim them up with my little trimmer. Seems to waste less paper that way for me. So I'm just going to trim up the edges of those and try to get them mostly so they're even. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down since I basically kind of know where I want it to go. Oh yeah, first I decided I wanted to make sure to ink the edges of it. I did fiddle with it a little ways because it was the same width as that snowflake paper, and I didn't want it to be exactly the same, so I moved it around, but I liked it right where it is now. And now I've laid my photos down, and you can see me twiddling my little fingers there. I can't decide. They seem to get more lost in this, and I think it's because of the snowflake pattern paper being on a white background also. So I decided to try matting one photo on white cardstock and see how that looks. And so you can just see me, I'm trying to move my little mat out of the way. And then I have this little cutting board. I think it's 18 by 24 cutting board. I don't know what company. I just went to a local art store and picked it up. So I'm just going to use my Perfect Layers ruler and I'm going to go around my photos. That one I messed up a little bit on it, so I'm just trimming it a little bit. And I am going to cut out the process. I did decide to go ahead and mount every one of my little photos onto the white cardstock. So first I'm just going to add the adhesive, and it kind of made like a little assembly line, and it made it a lot easier and quicker, but I did cut that out for you so you didn't have to watch me doing every single photo. So here I have mounted all my photos on white cardstock, and I have also inked all the edges of the cardstock borders with black Close to My Heart ink. And now I'm just gluing them down the way that they were, that I took the picture on my phone. They did go back the same way that I had them in the very beginning, so I really like how that looks. I got all the ones on the left-hand page down, so now I'm going to go for all the ones on the right-hand page. And my phone this time is in the front of me. I can still see how I had the photos, so I am still referring to the picture I took. So I'm just placing these all down, making sure I get them where I want them. And I really do like how this layout turned out, even though, like I said, there's a lot of photos. It doesn't seem too overly busy because of the black and white. If these were all color photos, it would just depend, I guess, on the pattern papers that you used. So I do cover up a lot of the pattern papers, but I do love how this layout turns out. So I was trying to figure out if I wanted to mount that photo down just a little bit more, but I decided just to put it where it was. And now I remembered to outline. I had almost forgot to outline the papers on this side. And you are also going to see when I do this strip, I realized that I didn't take the other layout, the other side, which you will see me fix here in just a moment. I didn't take this snowflake paper all the way up and down, which really in the long run doesn't make that big of a deal, but that is the spread with my 2 pages and my 18 photos, and I really like how they look right now. And there's, what I'm thinking at the moment is that up in the top left-hand corner is a great place for my title. I wasn't really sure what I wanted my title to be. I knew that these were basically pictures of my daughter, my husband, and Peanut the dog. And so I kind of did this layout for just them. I could have done a separate layout for my husband and the dog and a separate layout for my daughter, but I kind of liked it all together in one. There was this chipboard piece that said snow on it and the swirl above the W. I really liked that, and I put it there to the right, and I think it looks really good there. It turned out, sorry, it's very late. I'm tired trying to get my mind straight here. I like how the swirl of the swirl above the W looks underneath that photo, so I thought it fit really well there. And then there was a sticker that says Flurries of Fun, and I actually thought that made a better title than saying, oh, Kaylin, Jason, and Peanut having fun in the snow. So I liked the Flurries of Fun. And I'll just do a little bit of journaling later on and write. Oh, actually, I can't remember, but I think that at this point I'm planning, which is what I'm doing with that little journaling sticker right there, was planning on adding, you know, Jason, Kaylin, and Peanut in the snow. Anyway, so there was also a polar bear sticker up here you can see in the right-hand cluster, and it's actually chipboard, not a sticker. And I liked it there. There's no polar bears in the pictures or anything like that, but it definitely was cold outside. And any chance I get to use up my ephemera, I'm going to go for it. So I wanted to use that tag with the little kid on it, but it just wouldn't fit anywhere. And so I found another sticker to go there by the polar bear, and it fit really well. So I went ahead and glued the polar bear down next to that sticker. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue this snow word down because I really liked the way that swirl fit there. And now I'm just looking around for some more. That's right. I'm going to take these little block alphabet that came on the sticker sheet, and I'm just going to write out "Let It Snow" above, or I'm going to write out the words "let" and "it" above the word "snow," so that it will say "Let It Snow." And I thought that looked really cute right there. And so you can tell at this point it is mostly a blue layout. But because I have the word "of" in the Flurries of Fun, it does bring in a little bit of red. So you will see me add a little more red around later on. So there was also that border strip you could see me put there. I went ahead and just trimmed it down to make it look like it was going across both pages. So like I said a little while ago, that is a good way to make your double page layouts look like one continuous flow, is to make them look like their pages are going across both layouts. So if you didn't know that border sticker didn't go behind the snowflake paper, you probably wouldn't know. As scrapbookers you would know, but as non-scrapbookers probably have no idea. So just playing around with more chipboard. I wanted to add a little more chipboard around because I already had 2 pieces of it on the layout, and there was this hot mug of hot chocolate, and I thought that was really cute. And since I had the hot chocolate paper on there, I really wanted to get the hot chocolate cup on there. So it is going to go there on the left-hand side with a banner, and that banner I just popped up on with some foam tape. And I was wrong. I've been saying that I use 1/8 thick foam tape, but I believe I looked it up the other day and I actually use 1/16. So it is very, very thin foam tape, but it's the thickness that I love because it really gives a little bit of dimension without overbearing everything. So now I'm just adding a few snowflakes around. Again, I'm having fun with the fact that it's snow and you can add snowflakes around and make it look like snow is falling. And this is where I also brought in some of the red. So I brought in a red sticker to over there by the word snow. And then there's another little piece of red chipboard by the hot cocoa mug. And just playing around, this little phrase sticker, I'm going to put snug under the word snow there. And I'm just moving things, putting them down, moving them back, picking them up, moving them back and forth until I know that I like them. Once I get a little ways into the cluster, then I will go ahead and glue it down. I popped up that blue snowflake up in the left with some foam tape, and I'm just gluing down a couple more of the chipboard stickers. So now I have just a tiny bit of red in the title, Flurries of Fun. So the word of is red, and so I added some red down by the hot cocoa mug, and then I added a little bit of red over there by the polar bear, and now I have a phrase sticker underneath the word snow that is red. So it brings your eye around the page with the red. It is only 4 spots of red. I did try to play around. You will see me try to play around to add another red element somewhere else to make it an uneven number, because uneven numbers usually look a little better, but I gave up after a while and didn't even worry about it. I did also add that brad up in the corner there. That was red too, just to add another little bit of red. So I'm just checking the date here, and I'm going to add the date. And I didn't have, they only had one of each number, which sometimes drives me crazy. I wish they'd have like more than 1-1 and more than 1-2, because we're always writing 2017 and stuff. But so I just wrote December 2017, or not 2017, sorry. I'm stuck on this year, right? So anyways, I wrote the date up there with those block letters, and I'm just looking around a little more where I put those block letters. I'm going to try to add a couple more things also to bring the red into that area, but doesn't work. But I did find that half of a snowflake. If you saw a layout, the first layout I did with this collection, I believe, I cut that snowflake in half but couldn't get it to fit on that layout, so I put it there behind that to make it look like it was hiding behind the photo, and it turned out really cute. So I got to use both halves of that sticker, so I thought that was great. And now I'm going to play around. Here's where I'm going to try to add a little bit of red enamel dots around, so I can add it by that date, but it's not going to work. I am going to add the enamel dots around. I love enamel dots. Like, I think pretty much every layout I do nowadays has enamel dots on it, but I not going to get any. I don't believe I use any of the red ones. It's been about a week since I've done this layout, so I'm trying to remember everything, but I think that I just do light blue, dark blue, and white in each cluster, and I alternate the sizes of them. And I only added them in 3 different spots. So I added a little cluster of the enamel dots by the title, one down by the hot chocolate mug, and one over in the right by the polar bear. So I really liked this. I was thinking it was pretty much, could have been finished the way it was, but I thought maybe it needed a little something else. And so I'm going to cut off a little bit of each side, and I'm going to mount both layouts onto this blue pattern paper, or blue paper you just saw there that I was cutting the edge off of. And I love the way it looks in the end. I think that little bit of blue border just really finishes off the entire layout. So you can see me trimming this one. And this is one I cut out the middle of to make a photo mat in another layout. So one little trick for mounting paper. So I have this paper, but I don't want to mount the whole entire thing and waste it. So I am cutting out this big chunk to use maybe as a photo mat or something later on. So I just use a little bit of temporary adhesive, and I line it up on my grid mat, and then I place my other adhesive down, whatever I'm going to use to glue the layout on, and that way it keeps this in place so that it doesn't move when I'm trying to glue the layout down. And it really helps a lot. So I'm just lining up the left-hand sides because I want it to be even, and I don't want it to show any of the blue on the left hand. And then I'm going to take the rest of my strips here, and I'm just going to pull off the adhesive backing, and there you go. I'm going to add a little bit of washi tape. I kind of went crazy with the washi tape here. I could have rubbed off that adhesive, but I just thought, I'll just cover everything up with double-sided or with washi tape. This one I'm not going to cut out any more of because I already have mounted some of it on another layout. So I'm just going to use it as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and take my first strip off. And this one I don't need to glue down because it's not going to move around as much since I didn't cut most of it out there. So I'm just going to get that down where I want it and pull the other strips off. This is one of the best ways. This scrappy tape is one of the best ways to mount your layouts because it gives you time to make sure they're straight. And I'm just pulling off the last back adhesive piece. I don't know what you call that piece. So here is the layout almost. This is, I don't know, it's Goosebumps. I don't know what you would call it. It's like a spray mist, but this comes out clear. It comes out, if you know about Nuvo drops, and they're one that dries clear, almost like glossy accents, but it's a spray mist instead. And one thing I really like about this is when it dries, it gives it like a watery look, and it can go over your photos. I took a class before and they took the whole mist and sprayed it right over the photos. So you can see there that it looks just like little clear droplets of water. So I thought that would be kind of fun to add because snow does melt into water, right? So those are some close-up pictures. I hope you guys like this layout. Sorry if I'm kind of a little tongue-tied tonight. It's been a very long weekend for me, so I will see you guys hopefully Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye.